I'd like to pay respect to the traditional custodians of the land, the Wadi Wadi people and elders past and present. Can words change the world? Palalayasin natin ang uwak sa utak, paliliparin palabas sa mata, padadapuin sa puting-puting palad kung saan tuturuan siyang magtiklop ng pakpak, mamatay na uwak, at dumapong salita sa ulo ng tula. I am invoking an old poem I wrote in Filipino in the Philippines more than 2 decades ago. It translates to, "We will drive away the crow from the brain, let it fly out of the eye, let it roost on whitest palm, where we will teach it how to fold wings, how to die as crow, and roost as word on the crown of a poem." I am invoking an incantation whose spirit is older than the written word. It's a spell about how a word happens. The word is originally an animal, innately potent in the brain. It morphs in the human hand and becomes the beginning of a poem. Revisiting this poem now, I realize it is as old as ancient Filipino animist knowledge about 1, all objects in the natural world have a potent soul. 2, humans and non-humans are kindred spirits and collaborate to make things happen, or not. 3, incanting this kinship through words can change the world. Words are alive. Incanting them brings out what they really are, potent creatures that make things happen, like love, or keep things like a disaster from happening. The ancient ones in the Philippines have always known that words are alive and they change the world. So it is not surprising that in my latest novel, I created a locust girl, a girl with a locust on her brow, in order to change, even if only ever slightly, our human predisposition to suspicion and fear, or worse, hatred of the other, those unlike us. We urgently need words to change this worldview into something a little bit kinder, because words in literature and story can help us get into the other's skin, where we might find kinship possible. We'll listen to the other's dream in the other's skin, once a locust and a girl dreaming a single dream. But do words really change the world? Words have always changed the world. Think policy, laws, the Constitution, contracts, rules set by institutions, public discourse, the political wrangling among our policymakers. All these are stories, words that most affect and, in fact, constantly change our daily lives, even turn life upside down. As a writer, I believe it is my responsibility to do my little bit, even if it is only in countering, balancing the established words of any policy or public discourse that keep us from imagining how it is to live in the other's skin. The writer creates a world in a poem, a short story, a novel, a play, perhaps a counter-world to the small world that some believe only a particular geography, culture, race, or a particular species, human beings, can inhabit. What a very tiny, mean world is that. Think of the human heart. Tiny as it is, or so we think, it has 4 chambers that can open up into infinite space. As the protagonist of my novel, Fish Hair Woman, says, how much can the heart accommodate? Only 4 chambers, but with infinite space, like memory. where there is room, even for those whom we do not love. The word loves space. The word is the crow flying from the brain, the eye, into the open, changing the configuration of space, making more space as it flies. Space for a multitude, space for all. In many parts of the world where the word is bound or killed, facilitating its flight is a matter of life and death. When the Philippines was colonized by Spain for more than 350 years, the Filipinos fought a long, bloody revolution. This revolution was inspired by two political novels, El Filibusterismo, The Filibuster, and Noli Me Tangere, Touch Me Not, written by the novelist, poet, polyglot, and Dr. Jose Rizal. Unfortunately, because of this, Rizal was publicly executed by firing squad for treason against the Spanish crown. On his last night in jail, before he was shot, he wrote his final poem, Mi Ultimo Adios, My Last Farewell. And he hid the poem in his oil lamp, so it would not be found by the authorities. That night he was visited by his sisters for the last time. He told one of them, Saturnina, in English, bring the lamp home. Inside is a piece of paper. Keep it. It was like saying, bring the poem, the light home, and keep it burning through the revolution. At the recent Byron Bay Writers Festival, I went to the indigenous storytelling session of Kim Scott, Bruce Pascoe, and Delta K. I was most moved and humbled by their words, their eloquence, wisdom, and generosity. They spoke about the honoring of the old words of this land, that there is now a continuing move to return the old names of places, names that were erased by English and the colonial process. Now, restoring these words can shift sensibility, shift ground. About language and culture, Bruce said, quote, we don't use the word lost. We are finding language. He also spoke about how they usually begin and end story. He said it in the tongue of country, then translated it for the audience. Before they tell an end story, they say, we rise from the mother's heartbeat. And so we rise. As we speak word, as we listen to word, and rising we make space for other heartbeats, even those that are not our or our kin's own. The heartbeat. In the rhythm of the crow's wing, flapping into space, changing it, making it wider, perhaps kinder, uttering, incanting those that connect us, that make us better human beings in relation to other human and non-human beings. Years ago at the Sydney Writers' Festival, I was in a panel of writers talking about war and colonization. A despairing member of the audience asked this question, but what can literature really do? It seems we just keep living and writing the same conflicts. It seems we never learn from history. An understandable despair. The only thing that I could say in response was, when we read a book or story and then the next day we're a little kinder to our wives or husbands, then the story has done its little bit. Sometimes the word operates quietly. It sneaks up on us. That potent crow roosting on our sometimes uncertain, despairing heart. Sometimes this little change is enough for the moment. This moment of launching into space the 2017 Wollongong Writers Festival. Allow me to launch it not just on Earth, but also into outer space with this poem from my new poetry book, Accidents of Composition. Love is planetary. From the first urge, no, from the inkling of an urge, perhaps way before time, before the Big Bang, when black holes, matter and antimatter, and space were yet light years unknown to each other. This is the astronomy of our chance to meet, even with the most strange, most distant, and evolve by accident something even stranger. A ringed planet, a newborn star, or this thing called Earth. So, sweetheart, from the other side of the globe, ocean, river, field, mountain, wall, barbed wire, or the border of tanks and guns, faceless yet to each other, there is hope.